Thursday. It's Wednesday night tonight, right? Yeah. Good to be with you tonight on the program. A lot of stuff going on. Heads swimming around trying to figure out who's going where. The portal gate is swinging wide open. And there's also some good news in Gainesville. We're going to talk to Steve Russell in a moment. Sully's back. Kevin O'Sullivan, who left some sort of mysterious cloud, and glad to see him back. Gator basketball wins. Got a busy show. I like Peek Wilbur should be along. Franz Beard at the basketball game. Plus a bunch of other guys, including Carlton. Reese has been signing books all day. Franz Beard and Rob Dotson. It's a busy night. Let's go see if we can get the show started with Steve Russell.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ? I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Good evening and welcome to the program. Buddy Martin here. And we're going to go right to Steve Russell. Gainesville tonight. Gators roll past St. Francis. Still looking for more news in the portal. Up to a dozen people in the portal. Don't panic, folks. It comes with the territory, but it is sometimes a little scary. Let's go right to the Gator Bait hotline and talk to the man who's back on the air, thankfully, and we're glad of that because he's one of our favorites. Also one of our favorites around here. He's a journalist and a talk show host. Steve Russell, what's up, Steve? How you doing, buddy? Well, I didn't get you on. Let's try it again. Come on, Steve. Where are you hiding at? He's right there. I see him. There he is, right there.
There you go.
How are you, Coach?
I'm doing okay, buddy. Good to be here.
Good to be with you again, back on the air again, and remind folks again how they can get you all the time now in Gainesville. And
sure, I appreciate that. Normal time, noon to 2, Monday through Friday. YouTube, Facebook, you can access the show that way too. Today was a lot of fun. I got to talk to Devin Moore and Trey Smack, who are leaving the program, buddy, and it was so refreshing to hear them talk about their time at Florida, especially Devin Moore. Hey, I really enjoyed my time. I wanted to be part of the program. You don't hear that a lot anymore.
No, you don't,
because of everybody transferring. So he's a really good kid, and so was Trey Smack. And it was just good. It was refreshing to hear a college athlete talk like that.
Trey Smack had an incredible string of extra points, and of all things, his last game he missed one. Can't believe that. Well, he was a solid guy, but what a great kicker from 40 yards in he was. And Devin Moore was probably a very underrated guy who I think would play a key role. Did he have anything to say about his relationship with Billy or anything about the past regime?
Yes. Obviously, and Trey Smack said it too. They all liked Billy, but, they understood. And I point blank said to him, was it easy to go through that? And they both said no, but they had to rely on each other and, finish the year as best they could. And I thought they handled that, the way they said it pretty well.
I'm accused of being a sunshine pumper all the time, and I try to just pay respects to the people that deserve to be respected. Listen, I've had my time in the trough. I've had moments when people went after me, including the president, and I've had to take a beating just like anybody who tries to be an honest journalist and anything but a sunshine pumper. But anyway, I do enjoy watching the team succeed. I do enjoy watching certain players like Jake Slaughter, etc. I celebrate their success, the kind of young men that they are. And, I'm kind of a conservative when it comes to firing coaches. I don't think you ought to fire him every time you get mad. If you did, we'd be firing one every day. But sometimes I'm called a sunshine pumper. And I'm sorry if that's what you want to call me. Fine. I consider myself a journalist and have tried to observe this. But look, I'll admit I like DJ Lagway. Early on, identified him as the guy. I saw greatness in him. We'll never know. Maybe that was my own Pollyannish attitude, but I saw greatness in him early on. Thought we had something there. And then I wish him the best. I think people forget one thing. When the program was in trouble, it was in danger of the sky falling on it, and everybody wanted Billy's head, whatever. The guy that stepped up was the QB, and he saved his job, for better or worse, last year. And he gave all that he had to give. Yes, he made some stupid throws. Yes, he threw interceptions. Yeah, yes, he was disappointing in the final analysis. But I think he's a quality guy with character, and I think wherever he may go, Godspeed, and we'll see where that is. I can also see why Gator fans are ready for a change, and they're getting a lot of conversations about a new quarterback. What have you been hearing?
Let me go back to DJ Lagway because I agree with your point, buddy, 100%. And I think sometimes fans have short memories because when he was recruited here, that was a big get. And fans were giddy that he was coming here because everybody wanted that kid. And he's always handled himself with class. He's never complained. And yes, as you said, if you want to be critical of the way he played, okay. But I also remember after his first year, fans chanting his name, DJ Lagway, in the stadium because he threw all those great long balls. And nobody wants to understand, too, that he was hurt. He did not get reps that were necessary in his development. And maybe it was the system. Maybe it was him, a combination of things. I have a feeling, buddy, in the right system, he will thrive. And for the kid, I hope so. Because, again, to your point, he was class, did the right things, said the right things. So I'm all for him. Now, the quarterbacks. There's a lot of Georgia Tech here.
Wow. The Florida Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, that's just about what it is, right? Yeah. So, their backup quarterback, is probably going to go in there. And I just saw where another person on the Georgia Tech staff is going to come over here. Yeah. That's not surprising, given that. Who I feel sorry for, though, was Brent Key. Because I mean, he's people are leaving the ship, and it isn't like they're a bad football team. They're a good football team.
Yeah.
But he'll do okay. I think he's a good coach. But look, if you're the coordinator, you want to get a quarterback you can work with, fits your system, and I believe this. As a coordinator, you can work with anybody. You can adapt to what the quarterback is. But buddy, it makes sense to me if you have a system and you think that it works, then you recruit somebody to that system that works for you. And obviously he knows this kid. So, we'll see if that transpires.
Well, it's a good point. I can only relate it to my own personal world and in my job where I was often moved and usually as the number one guy, as the head coach when I went someplace, had to go and evaluate people on the staff and see who I needed. I interviewed everybody all over again. And I remember having to make tough decisions. And I remember when I went to the New York Daily News, and the biggest job I ever had, I needed a good, solid right-hand man, someone I knew could handle the job, someone I trusted. We're talking big-time newspapers here now. We're not talking Ocala Star Banners where I started and met this young man first. But he'd worked for me 3 places. And I said to myself, I'm not going to go hire this guy again. I've hired him 3 times already. He's done great, but I got to go someplace else. I did a national search. I came up empty. And guess what I did? Went back and
hired him again.
Hired Van McKenzie, and he was the right decision, right choice. We had a moment of glory there with him. And he was a small town boy from Ocala. And here we were in New York City. It was great. So you go with what you know. You use what you've used successfully. If you have a program or a system that you liked, you're likely going to use it again. And so I can't blame Coach for doing that, Summerall. I think he's going to do what he did. Now, the other thing is he has said on the record, I'll do whatever I have to do based on the personnel. If he's got a running team, he's going to run the football. If he can throw the football, he's going to throw the football. And clearly, it looks like they like to run their quarterback. So the question becomes in, did that factor into DJ? And if you look at the guys that he brought in, the guys he's talking about bringing in, quarterbacks at Georgia Tech, and he brought in as a quarterback coach and the offensive coordinator, et cetera, you have to see that trend. Is that what you're seeing?
Yes, and I do think that's part of what they do on offense. But, buddy, let's go back again to the original recruitment of DJ Lagway. What was he? He was a dual threat quarterback, but he never got a chance to really run here last year or 2 years ago because of inexperience, and this year because he was hurt. He ran a little bit later in the year. We saw flashes of what that could be. So if he's healthy, do I think he would be a dual threat quarterback for somebody? I do, but there's no question that, look, and you have to adapt to your personnel, but I do think this is an offensive coordinator that likes his quarterbacks to be able to run.
Yeah. Well, I saw some film on the guy, and it looks like he's got some scoots. He's got some game in him. And obviously, I'm hearing all kinds of stories like here. I don't know what to believe on the portal money anymore. They're saying throwing these amounts out, how much is offered. I have no idea. And I still don't think that was the key thing behind Lagway. I mean, it sounds to me like, that was a question of whether he was the guy or not. And we don't know what was said in those meetings. I'm sure you read what I read. If Summerall said what kind of quarterback you want to be, and he resented that, if that's true, I don't know that it is, then obviously there's an issue. It kind of reminds me, and I'm not putting it at the same level, that when Spurrier wanted to come back to Florida, and I know I talked to him during that time. He wanted to come back at the time before he went to South Carolina. And he talked to Foley and the people at Florida. And he was told, submit your resume. His resume is in the trophy case, right? So if that was the implication, like, okay, well, you get in line with the rest of them, I can understand why it would be open competition. There should be open competition. But they just what did you hear about that meeting? And is any of that stuff, as far as you know, true?
Well, I just told by several people that the meeting, for whatever reason, did not go well. Now, what does that mean? Did Lagway not say the right things? Did Summerall not say the right things that Lagway would like to stay here? Only a couple people really know the answer to that, but that's what I've been told. That meeting did not go particularly well either way. And so Lagway probably thought in talking to some of the people close to him that he needed a fresh start, and he's going to apparently get that. And I think that's good for him, and I think it's frankly good for Florida.
Probably was a good move for both parties. I hate it for him, but things happen. Look, none of us are guaranteed of jobs. There's bosses that change all the time, and people lose their jobs. It's unfortunate, and today it is a business, right? So you certainly have to deal with that part of it as well. Well, anyway, so it sounds like what you're hearing is what I'm hearing. I don't have any great sources on this. I did have one person that you know well and I know well, not named Steve Spurrier, who told me he was told they didn't want Lagway.
And I don't know that's the case in terms, we just don't want you, period. But I do think after the discussion, it might have come to that.
If you want to look at it logically without having the facts, and we don't have any, we don't get this information. If it's true that he make upwards of, and I've heard this number mentioned, over $3 million. Somebody said 3.8. My friend told me, no, that's too much. But he's making a lot of money. You got a Jaden Ball who's out there. By the way, now everybody's trying to get him.
Of course.
In fact, it borderlines tampering. I don't know what tampering is, but certainly they're going after this guy, everybody. And you got to pay him more money. If you got to, let's say X is the amount of money that DJ's making, 3.8, whatever, if that's the number. Well, you're going to have to give your new quarterback some money, but you got to pay Jaden Ball. Is that going to be 2 million, or was that going to
No,
be?
no, I don't see that at all, buddy. And I'll tell you why I don't. If you look at numbers that are floating out there, normally the two highest paid positions are wide receiver or quarterback and wide receiver in that order. Running backs are it's like the NFL. Running backs have been a bit devalued in the NFL in recent years. I think it's the same in college. Okay. Not that they can't make hundreds of thousands of dollars, but I don't know, and I could be really wrong here, if there's a running back that's making $1 million. I don't know that. If there is, I've not heard of one. So if that's the case, Ball, though, would make the top of the scale, or maybe even a little more than that. But I don't know that would be in the range of what, a quarterback makes.
Well, the highest paid position, and it's not going to be getting around pros. Is not a running back.
Right, exactly. Right.
They're devalued somewhat in the draft anymore. But so anyway, so we'll see about that. I think, and again, you talk to people every day for 2 hours. What kind of buzz are you getting about what's going on among Gator fans right now? The sane ones, there's some are crazy. The one that's about sanity. What are you hearing? What are you feeling about what you hear?
If I had to speak for Gator Nation, which I'm not gonna, but I'll summarize this. I think fans are cautiously optimistic. I think they like what they hear. I think they like what he said in the press conference. Energetic. You don't have to be energetic to be a good coach, but it helps. Body language just sort of helps, right? But winning cures all. And Sumrall is a winner. He said that. I'm a winner. And I think Gator fans think back to the guy you just talked about, Spurrier, right? That sort of mentality. And, everybody's going to be compared to Steve. They just are in that vein. So I think a lot of fans, depending on what we see in the portal, how he builds his roster, the schedule is certainly much more manageable, buddy, than the last few schedules have been.
About that.
So, if you look at the schedule, 8, 9 wins certainly might be a possibility. And I think if he does that in year one, that's going to be a nice year for him, year one.
No doubt. Steve Russell, you hear him every day at noon to 2 and 5 days a week, and a lot of other things. Got lots of stuff going on. Let's talk for one more second about the Georgia Tech quarterback. Have you seen any video on him? He now has hit the portal. Philo.
Yep.
And so obviously his offensive coordinator, his quarterback coach, I think there's 4 guys from Tech, as I recall, at least 3. And it seems like that's where he's going to go. Have you seen any video on him?
I've not seen video. I've talked to some people who have seen him play. And, the limited time he's played, they think he's got potential. And like we were just talking about, buddy, they know him firsthand. It isn't like you're taking somebody from another school and, looking at tape. They see him every day in practice. So it's a known commodity to them. And that, to me, is smart. Now, if you think somebody else is better and you want to bring in another guy in the portal to compete, which I think they should, I'm all for that. But if I know somebody and I know what that kid can do, and I'm confident I can, make him into a good player, bring him. That's what I'd do.
Sure. Do what you know. And, of course, they will go for a guy in the portal, I'm pretty sure. And they still got a couple on the roster that are worth looking at, especially a new one.
Yeah, and if Griffin is all that, Tramel Jones stays, I mean, there's going to be choices. And you have that at that position. I look, nobody was going to challenge DJ Lagway. He was the unquestioned starter with Billy. Do I think there's an unquestioned starter here now? No, I don't. And maybe that's good, right? You go into spring, and after the portal, you see who's here, and you have a real competition to see who the starting quarterback's going to be. I think that's going to be fun to see.
I think so too. And if Summerall can do what he thinks he can, and we think he can, and he gets someone like Philo, and he keeps Jaden Ball, I love the fact that Phil Trautwein is coming here. Because if you look at his record at Penn State in 6 years, he put out some great offensive linemen. Look in the NFL, you see them. And that's a position that was disappointing to me. I thought they were going to be good in the offensive line. They had Jake Slaughter and a few others, but they never got to be an elite offensive line. And Rob Sale don't forget, was NFL was the offensive line coach for the New York Giants. He came with a lot of reps, and they had 2. And you thought they're going to be good there, but they had open spots. They were spotty. Anyway, it didn't work out like we thought. Any thoughts about James Madison and Billy Napier?
Good for Billy. And it really did bother me when Summerall was hired, and some people said Billy too, and all this because of from coming from Louisiana. That's just not a fair comparison. But I will say this for any human being, buddy. If you make a mistake and then you can realize, what, I made a mistake, I think we're better for that. And I think Billy Napier, in his interview he did, acknowledged he made some mistakes here. He's going to apparently hire an offensive coordinator, which he stubbornly refused to do here. Well, maybe he realizes that was a mistake. Not going to make the same mistake twice. I don't think anybody in Gator Nation would say a bad thing about him personally, and how great a guy he was. The team loved him. Kids loved him. I hope he does great. And I hope he does great. If he wants to stay there, fine. Maybe if he does well, gets him another, higher echelon job. It just didn't work out here. Yeah. And part of that, to be honest, is his fault because he was stubborn in not doing that. But, there's talent here. And, buddy, the other place that I think has not been given enough scrutiny is the weight room. I don't know.
That's interesting what happened there. I don't know what happened. Because they were pretty happy with Savage.
Yeah.
And he went on to do well, and suddenly that was a drop-off, wasn't there?
Yes, and I just don't think this was a mentally strong or physically strong team. And, you know how Urban Meyer, with Mickey Marotti, when he led the strength program here, he was the best. And I'm not saying everybody's Mickey Marotti, but I do think that's something that has been sort of swept under the rug a little bit. In watching Florida compete against some of these other teams, I just didn't think from a physicality standpoint, maybe from a weight room standpoint, they were as good. And I hope Summerall addresses that.
Oh, so to see Russell's, it's a few more minutes for this here, and thanks for hanging around, Steve. Sure. I want to get to the important topic of the baseball coach. How about that? He's coming back. Sully's going to be back, and that's good news. I need a little uplifting thing. Couple questions online for you, and comments from different people. Any news on Ball? No, I don't have any moves on him. Yeah.
But it's interesting. Texas is going to have 2 running backs going in the portal.
Yeah. Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly right. Robert Turner says, can Fallow actually win the job? I'm not sure if he does. I get Venice and go Gators. I don't know if it's a good Venice or not. But yeah, Fallow, obviously, I have seen video on him. Now, I'm not a coach. I'm not an expert. Played a little position, but and covered it a lot. I saw some throws and plays that impressed me. I didn't know him from whoever. And I turned on the video of Georgia Tech and saw him play. I like how he releases the ball. He's got zip on the ball. He can maneuver and run. He's strong. He has a strong arm. I can see why they like him. And remember, Haynes King was a runner who he played behind. So I get the idea, Steve, they want to run the quarterback.
They do. And to the question that was asked, if they bring him here, I would certainly think they think he can win the job. Because if not, I wouldn't come here. If I'm a quarterback and I don't think they're going to give me a chance to win the job, I'll go someplace else. So I do think he's capable of winning the job. But like I said, I hope there's a quarterback competition where, 2 or 3 guys battle it out, and then we see who the winner is. I'm hoping for that.
All right, let's talk about Kevin O'Sullivan.
Sure.
Boy, what a record he's got. When you start looking at what he's done, you know him really well. You covered baseball closely for a long time. What happened to him was unfortunate. I'm not going to try to play psychiatrist here, but the pressure is building up on people, and he certainly had it on him, both on the home front and at work. And he lost it. And then he had to deal with all those issues. And now we didn't know how long he was going to be out. Maybe, who knew? And after 2 months, he's coming back. And by all accounts, he's kind of got it fixed, it sounds like. And we just haven't known baseball without Kevin O'Sullivan around here. I mean, you look at his record. I mean, you know all this. 18 seasons. He's reached Omaha 9 of the 17 years. 9 of the 17 years. 756 wins. 17 consecutive playoff berths. 9 SEC titles. I mean, how many? 6 national champions. He's been incredible what he's done here. There's no way anybody can be any better than him when he's on his game. Tell me your thoughts when you heard it. Tell me if you think he's ready, and do you think the baseball team is going to get a big boost out of this?
I talked to him today.
Okay.
And he sounds 100% better. He just sounds a lot better. He's gone through a lot with his family, which I won't go into.
We've heard about some of those things.
And he's still, going through some things with his family. But he's in a much better place mentally. He just sounds more active, really ready to come back. I talked to him about hiring Slater. And Slate's had coached here before. Really, really excited to have him on the staff. And looking forward to the season. Thinks he's going to have a really good team. He's still going to have to do some things, on the home front. But I never thought, buddy, and I was never told that he wasn't going to come back. It had always been my belief, and had always been told, unless something happened that we did not know about, that he was going to come back at a particular time. And frankly, I'm glad it's now, because now we know he's coming back when practice starts. Everybody knows he's going to be there. The team knows he's going to be there. So I think it's a win-win for everybody here.
Go back over what happened in the tournament and tell me how you recall it. I mean, unfortunately, there was a live mic. I used to tell my guys, there's no such thing as an unloaded gun or a dead mic. You know how many people get in trouble. And he had an embarrassing moment where he used profanity-laced comments. He was angry. He lost his cool.
He did.
He had to give a forced apology.
Yeah.
That's not his style. And at that point in time, I couldn't understand exactly what had happened. Have you learned any more about what happened that day to him?
Well, I was there. And so, Jeff and I were getting ready to broadcast the game on radio. And we walked into the booth, and an ESPN cameraman came in and just said, "Your coach is like going crazy down there." And what he said is being was picked up on a live mic. And I went to get lineups, and I went into the coastal broadcast area there, and they were just scrambling around trying to figure out exactly what was going on. And it was only until a few minutes before game time that we found out exactly what had happened. And it was just unfortunate, obviously. And he's learned from that. And I understand what Scott Strickland did. He had to apologize for that. It wasn't good. It was a very trying year last year with all the injuries. And buddy, I'm going to tell you, that team was spent. They gave what they could, given all the injuries they had. But they were just toast. It was just time to pack it in. And it didn't end well. But to come back, from the awful start that they had, I think people forget that. That's a testament to the team, to him, to the coaches for coming back from the dead like that to make a regional. And they've got a chance to be good. I mean, if their starting pitching has a chance to be elite, and if those guys are as good as advertised, if they stay healthy, I like the lineup. This could be a really good team for him again.
I mean, there was a time when Florida almost had no head coaches. Obviously, Todd came along, but you had no head football coach, no baseball coach. It just was just coming apart. I'm sure glad he's back. I think it's going to be a good, affirming year for him, and I think he needs to be back in the game now. He's happier, and I wish him all the best. Before I let you go, I just want to get one more thing out of the basketball team. What's Olivia Rio, if I said it right?
Rio
has become quite the darling of the fans.
Cult figure.
He's a cult figure. Yes, I mean he is unique. And what is he? 7'8"?
Yeah, or right? 9, I think. Yeah, whatever he is.
Yeah. So basketball team tonight, easy win. I'll bring Franz Beard over for the last couple of minutes. He's on his road. We'll say good night, Steve. Here's your thoughts about the basketball team. Say hello to Franz.
Hey, Franz, how are you?
Hey, good morning. Evening.
I feel like that too sometimes, Franz. Yeah, I got you.
I had no idea.
My brain's fried.
Yes, he's been out a long day. All right, I'm gonna let you go, Steve. I'll go ahead. No, you finish up your thought.
Real quick. This what you asked about basketball. This is the big fella had a dunk tonight, which was kind of fun to see.
Yeah.
But this is a stretch of games that Florida's gonna win, and now you work out kinks. Can you extend your bench? How many guys can you deepen the rotation a little bit and see what can happen as we get closer to the SEC? I think that's what these games are going to be for. We all know who the main players are here, but who's going to be the 8, 9, 10 guys that maybe get a chance to play some minutes in league play. So this was the first one of those tonight.
The road back. All right, Steve, thanks so much. I'll catch Steve noon to 2 on WREF. Thank you, buddy.
Oh, anytime, buddy. Thank you. Yep.
All right. Francis, the highlight was the big fella scoring tonight. Everybody got excited about that. Well, first, let's talk about your day. You had quite a day today, man. You were taking a big victory lap. You the superstar author. You had a big turnout in Ocala. I mean, think about somebody coming in and plunking down money. So I want 10 books. 10 books one guy bought, okay? And it was a celebration of everything that you've done. Congratulations on your success. I'm sure you had a lot of interaction with people. What's been the response to your book for the people early on?
People have read it, like it, and they're saying, are you going to write another one if we win another championship? And I told them the plan is to write another one just because following up a national championship with the second one is so difficult. This team's capable of doing it. Will they? We've all seen what happens in March. Weird stuff can happen to the best of teams. So the idea is to follow it up and follow the championship with the journey on the next one. And so that's why I've been to all the road games except in San Diego, and I couldn't be there for that because of my mom. I wasn't going to miss her 97th birthday to be at a basketball tournament on the West Coast. And
aren't you glad you did?
Yeah, I am. She lived 97 years and 11 days. And it was interesting too, buddy, because there at the end on Saturday, she passed away on a Monday. And on Saturday, we had our last really good conversation. And one of the things she said was, what about the basketball game on Tuesday? And I said, well, I'm not so sure about that, Mom. And she said, you're going. And I said, I don't know. And she said, no, you're going, and you're going to promise me right now that you're going to go. So I made the promise, and I made the promise. She died on Monday, and I made the promise and I went on Tuesday, and had a heavy heart, of course, but I'm glad the important thing to me was I kept the promise. It wasn't that the ball game was less important than keeping the promise, and I kept the promise. So I
Well,
was
nice
happy
job,
about
and
it.
I know that your mom is really proud of you. And I know her, and she was quite the lady, Carlita, and she'll be missed. And but she wants you to go forward, and that's what you've been doing, carrying out her wishes. Now, tonight's basketball game, what did it prove?
Well,
Sometimes just let me follow that up with a comment, then I'm going to do a commercial, and I'm going to respond. The fact is that sometimes these pre-puff games can mean a lot when you get guys to work out the kinks and get playing time. And you had that tonight. If you guys, I want you to talk about that. We're seeing repeat performances. We're seeing better play. I want you to assess that for us. But first, let me tell you about our fine sponsor, Meldon Law. You know about it by now. They gave away 10,000 rings, replicas of the championship. And that's the first 10,000 people that came to the game. They do things like this. They'll do things like that. They'll also go out and find transportation for the band because they're Gators. They love the Gators, and they are Gators. And they also love the law. They want you to get on the right side. They want to help you. That's why they have now 5 locations instead of 4. In addition to Ocala, Gainesville, Lake City, Wilson, they've also got in South Florida near Fort Lauderdale a new office, and now they're up to over 50 lawyers. And so the little firm that used to be little is now grown up quite a bit, but they still do the same personal touches. They won't back down. Meldon Law, check them out if you need them. I did, and I'm glad I did, and you will be too. All right, Francis, tell me what you saw tonight, and what do you think the upside was, and what you saw?
Well, couple of upsides. One of them is you get used to winning again, even though it's a game you're going to win. They lost their last 2. They needed. Sometimes you just got to get back in a groove, and even though it's a cream puff opponent that had no chance of winning, just the idea that you've won again, and you've done it in front of your home crowd. They hadn't been home in a month,
I
and
know,
so
man.
so and I think that's something that Todd's going to have to think about. I know that it was important to him to play he played in the ACC SEC Challenge, and that was at Duke, and he played in the Hall of Fame game. That was first game out in Arizona, and then he played in the Jimmy V up in New York. And I know it was important to play in those games, but somewhere along the way, you got to play some games for that home crowd. And the home crowd needs to see some competitive basketball too. This wasn't competitive, but it was good because they won. They had 6 guys in double figures, could have had a 7th. Isaiah Brown had 9 points there. They played well. They did what they're supposed to do. And more importantly, we saw the bench. Isaiah Brown gets 9.7 of them quite early. That was good.
I think we lost Franz there. Let's see if we can get him back. He's pulled off the side of the road. Coming up this month, we'll be talking to, I don't know if Alec Peek's going to make it tonight. She's at a Christmas party, but we've got our friend Rob Dotson, who's hosting the book event here tomorrow for the Panhandle Gator Club. He'll be joining us to talk about that. If you're in the Panhandle area, and some of you are, you should know this, that tomorrow night over on Laird Street on Palisade Beach, there'll be a book signing. Franz will be here, and he will sign books till he's blue in the face. Let's see.
And I think we're going to see more of him in the future. I think it's the reason we hadn't seen much of him before is he got here in the summer. He had to learn the defense, had to learn the offense and everything.
Yeah, Franz, let me stop you.
He looked really confident. Looked like
Franz, we've lost your picture.
He's got a really good looking stroke on his shot. So
I don't think you're in.
He's going to be somebody that's going to play more. Micah Hanlockton had a good ball game tonight off the bench. All
right, so let's go to our buddy Panhandle Rob. until we get Franz back and see if we can get Rob. Are you there? Well, Rob's not there either.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you. You gotta click on your camera.
Might help if I.
There you go. There you go. All right. So if we got Franz out there someplace too, and he's in Never Land, but we can't see him. But good evening to you. And we're going to bring Carlton in here tomorrow night. Got a big event for us. We've had a busy time. Carlton Reese has been a busy guy, starting this morning at Cogent Bank in Ocala, where we started the first signing, and then moving on to Gainesville. Now tomorrow night we're going to be up in the Panhandle. Good evening to you there, Carlton.
Evening, guys.
Evening.
We got France after someplace. We've lost it. Anyway, yes, so we had start with you, Carlton. It was quite a day. We went to Cogent Bank, and, when somebody comes in and plunks down money and says, I want 10 books, that tells you something right there.
Yeah, I like things because of the people you meet, and you meet some old faces you hadn't seen before, and August, and I hadn't seen in a while, and those are just special people from a special family, and they're true Gators, and Augie's seen he was Mr. Gator basketball, and really helped put Florida basketball on the map as far as the fans go. But everything and drive the basketball bus to get people to pay attention to basketball, not just football. Really special. It was good to see them and other folks coming in. Great to talk basketball. Franz.
All right. Well, we lost Franz, but he was pulled off the side of the road in Ocala on his way back from the basketball game, and we've lost him someplace. So we do have Mr. Panhandle Rob himself, our host tomorrow night. Rob, tell us about what we can do, what's tomorrow night and where and what to do about it. And if folks want to come out and say hi, we've got a few coming out, I know. This guy's coming all the way from Ocala.
Well, we're excited to have you guys come. Franz, Carlton, and Buddy Martin all over here in Panhandle Gator Club here in Panama City, Florida. We're the only signing in the Panhandle area. So if you want to get a book for Christmas, you want it signed, come to our event tomorrow night. It's going to be at the Gulf Legacy Law, a conference room at 7104 Laird Street in Panama City, Florida. You can find more information. You can still buy a book or come to our event. If you just find us on Facebook, Panhandle Gator Club, or our panhandlegatorclub.com webpage, you can find more information about this event. But we're really excited about having you guys coming over. We've already sold 22 books. So Franz and you guys' hands are going to get a little tired signing these books. But we hope a few more people show up, and we'll sell some at the door.
That's what he's there for, right, Carlton? Sign those books. And
yeah, not me. I'm not going to get carpal tunnel.
That's what Franz is there for. Yeah. To sign the books. Yeah. You're having troubles on your connection now. It seems like the gremlins are out tonight. It seems like we're. But anyway, yes. Yeah, so all right. So tell folks a little bit about the Panhandle Gator Club, Rob, because we don't get a chance to talk about it on this show very often. You're enrolled and you're with them. We're now having a show every 2 weeks. The Panhandle, what's our show called? Podcast. Yeah. Matter of fact, Rob and I do it every 2 weeks and had some good response from that. And we'll be doing more and more of that. But tell folks about your Gator Club, what you guys have done all these years. You've been quite active.
Panhandle Gator Club, we're very active. We have activities, family-oriented activities every month, whether it's a picnic down at Papa Joe's at the Bayou, whether it's putt-putt golf that we have every open week before the Georgia game, and we call it Orange and Boo putt-putt golf tournament. It's free for any kid and family that want to come, and we raise money by sponsoring the holes. We also have gone on, sunset cruises with the dolphins. We've gone on airboat rides to see alligators. So come see what you can about the Panhandle Gator Club. We we invite Gators. You don't have to be an alumni. You don't have to attend Florida. You just be a friend of the Florida Gators. We'd love to have you as part of our Gator Club. There are several Gator clubs in the Panhandle. Pensacola has the Northwest Florida Gator Club. Destin area has the Emerald Coast Gator Club. Tallahassee to our east is the Capital City Gator Club, I believe. And then we have a line that goes all the way from the Florida, Alabama, Georgia border all the way down to Apalachicola area and Washington, Calhoun, Holmes, Gulf Bay counties, Jackson County, if I think I count them all. But you want to join us, want to do events with us, want to come see coaches where we try to get coaches to speak. We have, first tomorrow night, we have our book signing with Franz Beard, Carlton, Reese, and Buddy Martin. So come join us tomorrow night.
It'll be fun. I know one of the things you said, Carlton, is you like going places and meeting new people and having conversations with folks like you did today. This is going to be a new one for us because we don't know a whole lot of people here. And Panhandle Rob is introducing me around a little bit, and I'm getting to know a few. I think Jay Moody might come tomorrow night, our friend Steve Spurrier's son-in-law. And my doctor, I think Dr. From Destin, our friend out there is good. I think will be there. Dr. Aronoff. Why can't I remember Aronoff? His friend was just there. And so we're looking forward to getting to know these people. I went to one of your board meetings and met some. Carlton, have you spent any time in the Panhandle?
I used to work for Golf Week magazine, and I ran a golf tournament in Destin at the Sandy Destin Resort there every year. It was a college tournament, and that was my favorite event every year. was going on. I love Panhandle. It takes me a little bit longer to get to Panama City because I detour around, so I don't like to do that area. But yeah, I love the Panhandle. I can't wait to go there and whenever you get a bunch of in a room like a Gator Club or something, it's always a blast. I love meeting those people, hearing their stories, where they come from, what they do, their passion for Gator sports, and they have a story to tell that's unlike any I've ever heard. I just look forward to these things.
Yes, and go ahead, Rob.
I was going to say the Panhandle is a great mix of people. You have people that are true Floridians that born and raised here. Then we have what we call the Yankees that came down here and stayed that we're glad to have also. But, it's a mixture of colleges. We have Alabama, Auburn, Florida, Florida State, Georgia. We have a mix of alumni here. We have the beaches that everybody's familiar with, but we also have offshore scuba diving. We have offshore fishing. I mean, you can catch billfish just offshore, not far from these areas. We have springs that go swimming and diving. We have several military bases from Tyndall to Eglin, et cetera. So it's a great diversity of people and things to do here in the Panhandle. It's a great place. I call it paradise.
Carlton, did you know there's a place you can go in the beach where you can sit in a lifeguard stand and one side is on one time zone or one's on the other? In Mexico Beach, did you know that?
No.
Yeah.
Drinking or after drinking?
Well, it depends. Probably both.
Okay. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
In the area that Hurricane Matthew basically removed the city almost off the map, called Mexico Beach. And it's the only county in the state of Florida with 2 time zones. Mm-hmm. And this chair, it's one of those big, large chairs, but it has all on it. If you sit in the right spot, you can sit beside somebody in the next different time zone.
I'm guessing
Dr. Aronoff says
when the bar's closed, you just move over a couple of feet.
Yeah, exactly.
And you got another hour.
Yeah.
Dr. Aronoff says he will be there. See that, right? He will be there. So, all right, David, we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow night. In a couple of minutes we got left, let's weigh in a little bit, each of us, on things in Gainesville, football-wise, what's happening there. Incredible story going through right now with what's happening with their coach. Summerall is coaching the championship and also trying to coach a football team in in Florida. And by the way, he's pretty active because he's already made a change of quarterback. Some people are thinking it was time. Other people are unfortunately unhappy about it. So give me your thoughts, first of all, Rob, about what's happened to DJ Lagway and how that's going down with the fans, the Gator fans, in terms of Coach Summerall's decisions.
Yeah, the gist I get from everybody is everybody loves DJ. DJ is a lovable type of guy. He's just generous with his money, etc. So, in the short run, a lot of people are sorry to see him go. However, they are wishing him the best. He had a rough season this year. I do think it was a lot of injury-prone year that he was not able to do everything he was capable of doing. But apparently, him and the team and the coach and et cetera have a decision that DJ will move on. And so it's unfortunate, but we do wish him the best.
All right, Carlton, have at it.
Fortunate thing is the potential we see in this kid. We saw glimpses of it from time to time, and we kept waiting. When it be just game thing, and there's you got to take the injuries into consideration, yes, but it seemed like there was a regression between last year and this year. Where, at the end of the season, he seemed to be getting things together, and he looked so dynamic at times. And then the way he looked at LSU, where he was just throwing it up for grabs, it seemed it was unbelievable that this could happen to a kid who was progressing even slowly. So he was regressing, and I don't know. I he probably needed a change of scenery. I know there's a change of coach. Could they have brought him on and to progress like he should? I don't know the answer to that question, but it seems like the right thing, honestly, for him.
Rob, what are you hearing from your friends? People think it's a good decision. There are a couple of things I want to clear up on that, by the way. He wasn't demanding more money. He wasn't demanding anything. People make up these stories that aren't true. Yeah. He simply had a meeting that didn't go well, apparently. He's just talking to Steve Russell about it. I guess he didn't hear what he wanted to, and Summerall didn't hear what he wanted to hear. And so he could read the handwriting on the wall, and he has other options, and fine. That's just the way it is today. That's the way. That's how the cookie crumbles. You change jobs before you know what it is. So it is a business. So it's unfortunate. But anyway, Rob, what's your take on it from what your friends are saying?
I'm at a loss of words in some ways to talk about it, because you don't know what was said. You don't know what was discussed.
Right.
Just really wonder. And again, I'm wondering, not that I have any source or anything. Was DJ, demanding to start, and the coach says you got to fight for your job? You hear these rumors and stuff. We don't know. I don't know. We'll never know. But I do know we have Emory Jones in the background, which to me seems to be a very talented quarterback. We got
Tramell Jones.
Thank you, Tramell Jones. We got Griffin coming in. Mr. Gatorade, Florida, coming in. So, are we hurting at quarterback? Well, we have less experience, but we got some very good talent. And then if we pull anybody off the portal and bring them in, I think our quarterback room is going to be in great shape.
Okay. In the final minute, give me a basketball assessment. The team won tonight. They're 23rd. They fall way down, but they got a schedule. France thinks you're going to win every game in the SEC and call out the toll. What do you think, Carlton? You're going to call out of this thing?
France and I are pretty close to each other on this one. I think that everyone's kind of waiting for these guards to come around, and I don't think there's been a big enough sample size. You're going to get that sample size, and I sense they're starting to come around, and they're progressing like they need to. So it's not even December 20th yet, which is nothing in a basketball season, college basketball season. So, a month from February, and it'll still be early in the SEC season. I think you're going to see these guys kind of Everyone's going to understand their roles. We're probably going to play a little deeper than we're showing right now. And I think Boogie and Xavier are going to kind of have good games at the same time. And this is going to be a very, very strong team. They're 7-4, and four of the losses are close games to 3 of the top
12 points or something.
5 in the
country. Yeah, true. All right, guys. Thanks very much. Both of you. Don't forget tomorrow night at the Panhandle Gator Club. Signing tomorrow night starts at 6:30. What's that address? It's over on Laird Street. And what should they look for?
All right. Tomorrow night, again, gates open, if you want to call it. Doors open at 6:30. Program begins at 7. It's at 7104 Laird Street in Panama City, which is just across the Hathaway Bridge on the west side, just off of Thomas Drive. So come see us. Come find, listen to the Franz, listen to Buddy, and listen to Carlton all talk about.
Buy a book and get it signed for Christmas, man. If you want a present, you got a good one there.
Great Christmas present. The nice thing is you get a signed book for $30 without paying shipping.
There you go.
It's really a bargain, and it's a great Christmas gift. So buy one, buy all.
Would you support that, Carlton?
Absolutely. I think if you can get Buddy Martin and Franz Beard to sign that book, that's a pretty valuable commodity.
That'll devalue it for sure.
Oh.
But hey, guys, bring
almost all of the other Buddy's books back here at my shelf.
You do have them. Thank you for that. We appreciate that. We do appreciate. I appreciate you both. Good job, Rob, of putting it together, and good job by you, Carlton. I'll see you tomorrow night. Drive careful, okay?
I'm looking forward to it, buddy. We'll see you then, Rob.
All right,
thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Bye-bye. All right, folks. Sorry we didn't get Allie on tonight. She went to a Christmas party, and sometimes those things take precedent. It gets loud. You can't talk, so she wasn't able to make it on tonight. So we'll give her a little grace for that. So, all right, folks. We'll say, just remind you of our sponsors that we told you about Melton Law earlier, and of course now we want to tell you about one that's very close to our heart, Titan MRI and Imaging. They have 3 locations to serve you, 2 in Gainesville, with Park Avenue location now in Millennium Center, 1 in Lake City serving all of Columbia County and Valdosta, Georgia. Titan MRI and Imaging offers the same great customer service as always. You can call them up if you can't make the appointments in the afternoon. They'll make you one at night, especially for you. Bring in their technicians. They accept insurance, or you can go to their convenient self-pay option. They offer MRIs, CAT scans, X-rays, ultrasounds. And they have the larger MRI machines for your patient comfort. No yards, no hospitals. Come and soon to Ocala to better serve Marion County. Titan MRI and Imaging. It's your choice. Thanks to our guest tonight, Steve Russell's. Always great. Good to have Franz on for the time we had him. He had to pull off the side of the road. And, of course, Rob and Carlton. And sorry we couldn't get out tonight. I hope you have a great night. Happy holiday this week. Be safe out there. It's crazy on the roads, I can tell you. I've been there. You don't want to go unless you have to. Just hope you have a good Christmas shopping. I got a lot of mine done today. I'm an online guy. I tell you what, it's really helpful to have something like that, get them shipped. So have a good evening, folks. We'll see you tomorrow night right here on the Buddy Martin Show.